Tick-cock! Anyways.
Lovely.
Yes, it's gonna be my new verbal stim for the next several days.
Oh god. Okay, I'm gonna just go disappear now.
Hello! We are doing another mini solo session! Woo!
Little silly thing.
A little silly thing! And it's gonna be great and not traumatizing at all. Probably. It's not intended to be traumatizing, we'll see. Anyways.
We'll see how that goes.
The fuck was that? Bobs? Hold on. Oh, okay. It was in your room? Okay. I was like, who the fuck broke into our apartment? And if someone did, give me a reason. I'm feeling a little unhinged today. It's okay. Anyways, small recap. That is not involving attacking home intruders. So small recap for anyone who missed the last session. Oswald and the party once again bumped into each other, tracking down the next bestow shard. They got invited to this My cat left me. What a bitch. They got invited to this masquerade ball of sorts. And
I think it was another one of our wood plank things. Our fake wood.
Oh, okay. Anyways. Nothing is going according to plan already. This is wonderful. You guys got invited to a masquerade ball, went to that. Turns out it was hosted by Hermes, because of course it was. And you guys got to play some fun little games, some fun little challenges to try and win the bestow shard. And well, at the end of it, Oswald ended up being victorious on that. But the celebratory factor of it was cut a bit on the less exciting and happy side when two certain primordial gods showed up to arrest Hermes, because that little bastard decided to commit several crimes to get their attention, to get the party fully informed. So he could get them both present and put them on blast real quick. It was kind of his little scheme that he had been cooking up for the past few months. So Hermes is gone now. Oswald was not okay with this, because that was his man's. Damn, imagine dating someone in jail. Shaking my head.
Damn.
But, Oswald went, he yearned for the forest once again after a very long time. The rest of the party kind of went to almost, it was actually really wholesome and sweet, so I highly recommend watching the VOD, actually. Because the rest of the party kind of hung around, made dinner, and, we're trying to kind of be there for Oswald in a sort of way, but of course, Oswald being Oswald, ended up leaving shortly afterwards and being taken back to the little time pocket by Aroa. So that's where we're going to pick up, actually, is shortly after you arrived at the time pocket, Oswald.
Okay.
Like, when you immediately got there, you passed the fuck out, like, as soon as you got there. Whether it was because of all the exhaustion from the night, or whether it was Aroa knocking you out, who knows? You don't know.
Maybe all three.
Maybe all three. It very well could have been all three. But, you passed the ever-living fuck out. Got a nice, good, long rest. You wake up in a room that has now since kind of become familiar to you after these past few months. It's the same gray room, although I can imagine maybe it's gotten a little more customized over time. I can imagine you have your little alchemy set up somewhere.
Yes.
Things like that. Maybe a few books here and there. But you wake up in that room, and you can smell a smell that's a little off for this area. It's a very weirdly smellless. Smellless? Is that a word?
Yeah, that's sure.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't know. I didn't go to school. But a bit of a smellless room, but you do smell the slight faint scent of tea coming from another room in this building that you stay in.
Interesting. Yeah, so Oswald's gonna sit up from bed, still a little sleepy after passing out.
Mhm.
He's gonna be a bit perplexed when he smells this, because he's not used to like smelling really anything in this time pocket. So he is gonna slowly arise from his bed, and he's gonna try to see where this smell is coming from.
All right. So yeah, you head out of your room and head down the kind of hallway area, and sure enough, you do come across a kind of main room. You've ran into Aroa in this main room a few times, usually for training or whatnot. And sure enough, Aroa is there. But sitting across from him is the big blue boy himself, Cebu, the god of death, who is sitting across from him.
Of course.
And they're drinking tea, or rather, Cebu's drinking tea. You see an untouched cup of tea across from Aroa, but they seem to be talking about something. But when you get up, they both kind of go quiet, and Cebu is like, "Oh, well, I suppose I should get going then. Leave you two to talk about whatever." And Aroa just kind of nods, and Cebu gets up to kind of leave. You can kind of sense an air of awkwardness around the god of death, as he kind of awkwardly dissolves into a bunch of black feathers that quickly fade into shadows afterwards.
Uh, so another conversation, I see.
It's like, well, Cebu did mention he wanted to have a conversation with me, yes.
About some things that might have been hidden from him.
Like you're any better, you hide things from people too.
I'm aware, and I'm not going to deny that fact. I'm sure he probably wasn't happy that you were hiding things from him specifically.
I really do try to be transparent with Cebu on most things, practically everything. This is actually the first time I've never filled him in on something. Because I knew
Well,
he would agree.
About the shards?
Yes, we certainly have opposing opinions.
If you don't mind me asking, what is Cebu's opinions on the shards?
Hmm. He understands my perspective on why I want to reunite Bestoa and Chiron as, one whole god. But on the other hand, he believes that that would be punishing those two more so than they already have been. And that it's a sense of, he believes it's a sense of mistakes get made and that we just need to cope with said mistakes instead of trying to patch it up at the expense of others. He's also not exactly thrilled that I suppose employed you and your group's help. I didn't tell him about that either.
Well, I'm sure that you will both settle your grievances over that eventually, since you two can actually manage to talk things out, unlike everyone else. But speaking of the shards, while I was asleep, since I passed out once getting here, it seems, I managed to have some time to think things over myself, and I'm of the mindset that the shards ultimately are a double-edged sword as a result. While it is true that it is punishing to want to reunite both Bestoa and Chiron together as one, since they've been separate for so long and are individuals, I am aware that, well, with Chiron wanting to be human, that would mean that someone would have to take on the responsibility of being the war god, And as my view states towards you, it would be nigh impossible to likely find someone to fit that spot. So it's a very delicate situation to balance.
Exactly, which is why I thought my method was honestly the easiest, and one that would cause the least harm, but Sebu seems to disagree.
And I think myself, I'll still need time to truly know what the right answer might be, if any is the right answer.
It's like, Oswald, you do realize there's no correct answer, right?
Wish there
It-
was.
This is something I've noticed about you, Oswald. You see the world in a very black and white kind of way. At least from what I see. You see things as inherently good or inherently bad, but you can't seem to see the middle ground. It's actually kind of fascinating, especially given your relationship with Hermes. That one is a middle ground.
You got that right.
But the reality is, most things are a middle ground between those. Nothing is always inherently good or bad. Everything, and when you really think about it, is a tool. It just depends on what you do with that tool. That includes your mind.
I know. It's just difficult to try and reach an area that is gray, in a sense, considering that I've never really had to do something like this before, especially on a scale of what is happening. With all the extra factors going on as well.
To me, it seems like you're trying to go for whichever side comes off as the closest thing to good, but quite honestly, I think that's being detrimental to you and your training.
I think at this point I've come to realize that there really is nothing I can lean towards anymore. Because nothing itself, like you said, is inherently good. I don't think I will ever get that good that I'm searching for, at least that I can see in my own head.
Yes, it is likely there's not going to be a happy or good ending to all of this. Somewhere along the line, someone's going to get hurt, and I think that's something you need to accept. No matter what you decide, I suppose.
I'm just hoping that this doesn't blow itself into an all-out war.
Honestly, if I can't guarantee that it won't, no matter which conclusion happens. And I'm not necessarily saying that as in the gods will start a war. A lot of gods have died recently. Eldorus, no, Thresha, Misha. Some have been long-standing gods for a long time that are now under new powers, so to speak. That's just how things are sometimes.
Only they didn't have to be that way.
I don't think there's anything anyone can do to prevent that stuff. And nor do I personally believe anything should be done to prevent things that naturally happen. That's why I manage things the way I do. I don't just use my abilities to go back and undo something just for the hell of it. Like, just because, oh, it could lead to a bad outcome. You have to see it through. I suppose Sebu had a point in that. It's just I worry for the outcome of... If I didn't
Whatever.
separate them, it's like, well, if I didn't separate Chiron if it didn't break off a piece of him initially, he would have broken out of prison. That was the only time I've ever actually been afraid for you mortals a little bit, because he just kept killing. I mean, he killed another god during the God War. I think that's what Seb is afraid of if I reunite them, is that he'll go back to that. I don't think he will, but...
But one will never know until it actually happens.
Mm-hmm. And I have so many precautions already in place. Funny enough, Hermes is one of them.
How is he a precaution?
Well, he took on a very old, he killed another very old, very strong god. He's pretty, in Cebu's words, squirrely. Or squirmy? What is it? I don't know. He's broken out of the jail like twice since yesterday. He's gonna put himself back, but...
He sees it as a game, most certainly, knowing him.
I think so, but I think he's accepting. In a weird way, he is accepting his punishment. He's not trying to escape. It's more or less, from what Cebu's told me, he's just sneaking out to steal snacks, and then he just comes back.
Yeah, that's Hermes, alright.
Yeah. And, speaking of him, I do somewhat apologize for, having to arrest him.
I mean, it is painful to see someone you care about be arrested, but I can make it known that I'm aware that he has broken laws of the gods, and it is only right that he should be tried for what he's done. After all, if the gods were to just break their laws all willy-nilly, then there wouldn't be any power in check, and who knows how things would be.
Exactly. Funny enough, he's actually decided he doesn't want a trial. He just said he'll take the punishment. He just straight admitted he was guilty. Which, like, we know, but...
I think
It was...
he admitted it well enough at the party.
Yes, well, it seemed like he did it to... What did he tell Cebu? To give you guys a leg up? To try and help?
But if he ended up helping has yet to be seen.
Credit where it's credit's due. I think helping was getting me to, unfortunately, explain everything. I think it was a bit of a jab at myself and to try and assist the other party members. And maybe yourself as well. He said he wanted to have you guys fully informed.
And it feels like at this point we are fully informed, as we are aware of what you wanted the shards for.
I guess he did what he wanted to do then. That probably explains why he's not trying to escape. He accomplished his goal then.
He did. Oh. There is something over on the conversations of letting things play out as they do. There's something I'd like to circle back to, if
Okay.
you do not mind.
Why not?
Oswald at this point is going to actually, as he was slowly moving closer to where Aroa was, he's going to sit down in the chair that Cebu was once in.
Alright.
Be across. Now, I remember months ago you told me that me surviving instead of my mother was a mistake of sorts. Something that you yourself never saw because of some other circumstances that managed to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, why was me living a mistake? Was it because there was no other reality that where up to that point I always died? Or was it
Mm,
something else?
of course not. It's like there are plenty of, different timelines where you live or die. Although the ones where you live are much fewer. It's more or less the reason why in this one, why you surviving is so odd, is because of the person, actually. The one who is responsible.
You mean the one who killed my mother?
Yes. That one is.
I'm gonna hate asking this,
Mhm.
but do I already know who said individual is?
If you're thinking it's the Muse, that's not who it is. It's no one that you know as well. Well, I mean, you did speak to him and give him a potion of vitality. But
Well,
I believe you were already aware of that part of his identity.
of course, they came to our shop after all,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
but I never did get a name.
yes. And that's. I also actually don't have their name. Because they're not supposed to be here.
You mean they're not from this reality, this timeline?
I did mention that I had an incident before where I lost a very important relic. One that allowed people to traverse time. And I've had run-ins with his he ended up having a son. I thought it was him for a while. It's a whole thing. That's in the really, really fucked up timeline.
Hmm.
I've met his child, but I never found him and still haven't been able to find him. But I believe that might be the culprit.
That is. Hmm. That makes me very curious, because if they were able to go to any timeline, find it strange that they ended up here of all places when there most certainly were better outcomes that they could have gotten something to help.
Well, I also did mention that the original thief also had the relic stolen from him. The one who I don't like talking about the one that stole it from him. He's the one who fucked everything up. Like really fucked everything up. Ugh. What a freak. But I assume that he got stranded.
Hmm.
And that's why he's still here.
So they're still alive.
I'm guessing so. Again, I can't exactly track him. Can't see him. But I assume he's still alive. Sebu would know if he was an anomalous soul. If it was dead, he'd point it out to me and ask me about it, so. I assume
Well,
he's still alive. He's just an elvish fellow, I believe. Elvish? Elvish? Elvish adjacent? I don't remember. It's been a very, very, very long time since I have spoken to him.
I see. Well, I don't know if that has necessarily gotten a weight off my shoulders, but it does explain what at least who this individual was, and that wasn't someone from this timeline.
Which is why it affected you the way it did. Why it interfered as much as it did when you survived instead of your mother. This timeline, she was supposed to survive.
Because I was killed by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I was supposed to be killed by...
I don't think you would like to know how you were supposed to be killed.
I mean, honestly, with everything I've gone through, I'm honestly a little curious, as grim as that might sound.
Mm.
I'm curious to see how events were likely supposed to play out.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
All right. You were supposed to survive longer than a lot of the timelines, actually, in this one. You were going to make it to adulthood, run the pharmacy with your mother. And it became quite, what's the word? Welcome to the DM Forgot Words.
Quite successful.
Yes, that. Thank you. Sorry, that T did something to me. But yes, successful. You were able to move business up to the center city as, as you did. And, well, someone had put a hit on the shop and on you and your mother. And a particular assassin broke into the shop. Your mother wasn't home, but you were. Killed you, collected half of the bounty.
Now that makes me curious why someone would want to place a bounty on my shop.
Hmm.
It's not like we were doing anything out of the ordinary.
Well, your
Still,
potion of vitality really caught some attention.
but if that's the case, you'd think they'd want the potion itself, unless I
Mm,
refused.
I believe either you had refused or... No, I think you did refuse. You might have been approached about it a few times during that. Yes, I believe that was quite exactly what happened, was you were approached with several offers for the recipe. You refused. And about a week or two later, good old... Oh, maybe don't mention that. The assassin. The assassin, ended up showing up.
Hmm. See.
I'm not going to mention the assassin's name. You don't need that.
Why do I have a feeling that I've met said assassin?
Hmm. Perhaps.
I feel like I could have a few guesses of who it was, but fate does work in mysterious ways.
I suppose you two were destined to meet one way or another.
And that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, I figured you'd figure it out.
Hmm.
You're surprisingly calm about this revelation.
Well, on one hand, it is alarming to know that if reality played out, the person that I cared about would be the one to end my life. But in another, it makes me wonder what I'm able to do now that I was given this second chance of sorts. Almost to rewrite history, in a way.
Well, please don't let that get to your head, or I'm gonna have to wipe you off the census.
You know what I'm capable of. I couldn't do much if I wanted to.
This is true. You may be, by all technicality, an anomaly, but a rather minor one that is allowed to exist according to my rules. So,
And I'm still mortal.
mm, well, other anomalies, like actually the one that I can't see here, is a major one. Even though he's mortal, I can take him out if need be. Same with what's his face. Technically, I could have killed his kid. I decided against it. Just had a little bit of mercy for once. I think I didn't. I think I threatened to disembowel him though. I don't know. He got on my nerves that time.
I am not gonna dig deeper into that, as that seems personal.
Oh, he survived.
I'm
Actually, ended up living a very fulfilling life. Actually.
well, still, I don't think that is something that I should be digging into, as it doesn't really concern me.
Oh, true.
Well, yes and no, I guess.
Yeah, that one. That timeline doesn't concern you. You
Yeah.
died in that timeline, by the way.
Well, you said it was very fucked up, so I assume that however I died in that timeline was also a bit more gruesome.
Hmm. I believe you caught a glimpse of it once.
You mean what? When I first
Uh,
picked up the pocket watch?
oh yeah, you said. Oh, that's unfortunate that that's the one it showed you.
Hmm. Honestly, I don't dwell on those memories, specifically that memory, now that it is ingrained into my brain.
Yeah, best not to think too hard about it.
Yes, and that will be one thing I won't be asking questions about.
And that's good because I would not answer any. That whole timeline was a headache.
But thank you for answering these questions that I've had. It's just been something I've wanted to know for a while now, and I think I can rest easy knowing the answer.
Fair enough. And you're welcome, I suppose. Although I do have to ask, why do you keep running back here? Your friends very obviously care about you. And, like, while I'm not necessarily complaining that you're just going along with my plans all fine, it is confusing. You know I wouldn't, keep you around if it didn't benefit me. I feel as though I'm very transparent about that.
Yes, you are. And while half of this that I keep coming back is due to training and being your vessel, of course, I feel like a
Wait,
part of it, the other half is that, well, I don't think I have an answer. As I think I've been running away, thinking I could use this as a way to get a good outcome. But after what I've seen and what I've heard, especially for this conversation we've been having for a while, I've learned that as much as I want it, it's not feasible.
hmm, I'll be honest. I don't know why you thought separating yourself and locking yourself into a singular option would bring clarity. I don't quite understand that.
Honestly, I'm not sure myself. I know it was just a lot of emotions and tension first time that I split. I think that is why results ended up the way they did.
Hmm, that's fair. I just find it odd you came running back to me after your boyfriend got arrested.
Well, it more so wasn't due to that. It was more so that I didn't want to be around whatever was going on there. I needed a place to rest and relax, and I don't plan on using this as a place of escape. But in the moment, it seemed like the best place to get away, considering the others would have come for me anyways, as they did. I wouldn't have been
Why
able to be
is
alone.
why is that a bad thing, though?
It's not. It's just sometimes I need to clear my head, and it's difficult because all of them like to stick their nose in other people's business, which is no fault of their own, and I'm guilty of the same.
Yes, I was
I
about
know
to say.
I know they mean good. I know they mean well. But I don't know.
They seemed rather quiet when they were over by you. They didn't utter a word.
And that's a first.
Perhaps it's just because they were trying to be there for you. I'm not one to defend them, although I do have a little bit of admiration for them sticking up to me. I can't, help but be a little impressed by their. They really do not give a shit about gods and authority, and that's a little. I can respect it on a certain level.
Mhm. I know I will return to them, most likely sooner than expected. But I would like to continue working on vessel training.
Hmm.
As we've already done a majority of it so far, it would be a shame to just abandon it.
Oh, you think we've done a majority?
I would like to hope.
Oswald, I believe I was very clear. Full vessel training takes years. Years and years and years of training. I believe that's been mentioned quite a few times, actually. I think Hermes has mentioned it several. He's trained since he was 9 and became a vessel in when he was like in his early 20s? It takes a very long time, Oswald. I mean, you're training to handle the power of a god.
I know, and I think I'm just worried I'm not going to be ready in time or not have what I need.
In time for what?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm searching for. I'm just scared that the worst is going to happen sooner rather than later. That I'm going to be helpless to do anything.
And you think becoming a vessel will fix that?
I like to think.
Yeah, cat? Fucking weirdo. Anyways.
At least to prevent someone who isn't. I don't know. Who isn't. I don't know if worthy is the right word, but someone who isn't able or just to be someone, especially with the power that you wield.
Oswald, the reason I don't choose vessels, the reason why I am so incredibly picky as far as vessels go, the reason I've never had any other vessel other than your mother. You are the only Oswald that has become a vessel. I hope you know that. And I'll be honest, I don't think you're ready. And it's nothing of fault to you, mind you. It takes a very specific mind to be able to handle, like, my abilities. That is why I'm so confused. And I'm admittedly a bit worried for your reasoning as to why you wish to be a vessel. I don't think it would be safe to proceed training at this time.
I understand.
I don't, and it's like, for once, I'm genuinely not trying to make you upset or irritate you. It is a matter of taking, irritatingly enough, your safety as well as my own into account. If you are trying to become a vessel purely with the thought process of wanting to use that ability to prevent things, to steer things away, potentially off, that can lead to a lot of accidents. That can lead to a lot of potentially steering things off its naturally flowing course. And I'm sorry, I cannot have that. There's already enough going off course. You'll be returned to where I retrieved you tomorrow. As for what you do with that free time, that'll be up to you. Whether it is to return to your party, to do whatever, is entirely up to you. I think you need more time to think, to figure yourself out without running amok around this little pocket doing training and trying to accomplish something in a fast amount of time. I would, however, like to have the bestow shard. We did have an agreement, and it is in our contract.
Oswald's gonna hesitate.
Yeah.
Um. Uh, um.
The decisions go burr.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Shoot. Yeah. Do you mind if I could see the contract?
Sure. And he's gonna hand it. He's gonna hand it over.
He's gonna examine the part that talks about the bestow shard.
It reads, grabbing the contract. It reads that in exchange for helping him train for the, for becoming a vessel and everything like that, in exchange, Oswald is to collect and retrieve the bestow shards and bring them to Aroa.
I am aware that it does state that I must bring you the shards. But it also mentions that when you help me to train to be a vessel. Since we are putting vessel training on hold, I would like to withhold the shard for the time being.
And Aroa actually, he looks over the contract himself for a minute and just. Fair enough. By the means of the contract, that is allowed, unfortunately.
I'm not doing this to go against you. I just need time to think.
And I respect that, actually. I won't make a big fuss of it.
Honestly, thing that ultimately is on my radar at this moment and that I would like to keep my focus on is figuring out, albeit I can't do this myself, is to stop Muse.
Well, in that case, I would definitely, I guess, suggest reuniting with the party, since they are working with Chiron, which means they have an in a sense to the Muse, since Chiron is currently employed by them.
That
That's
is
my
the
best.
case.
Yes, that's my best advice, I suppose.
Will at least allow me to get some insight, hopefully. Especially if I do meet Chiron again.
Yes. At the end of the day, I'm fine with this, given at least we both share a common goal as far as the Muse is concerned.
After all, they are a threat to, honestly, this world because, like you mentioned, they want to create a perfect reality, which isn't possible. To them, it might be perfect, but to anyone else, it could be anything but.
Mm-hmm. And to me, making a perfect reality means removing the choices of mortals, in my eyes. The choices of mortals is what creates different timelines. And while it is exhausting, that's how things are. And in a way, it is oddly beautiful. And sometimes very creative with what happens. There's some very odd timelines.
I'm sure. But that does make a point. With him creating their perfect reality, they would be the only one who has a choice and a say of anything, while everyone else would be forced to bend a knee to what they want.
Pretty
And
much.
considering what they have done so far, I fear for whatever perfect reality they have in store.
Their perfect reality destroyed my home. And he gestures to the little pocket, like, this whole place reduced to nothing. Because it didn't fit their vision.
And if they were given more power, they could erase anything that they don't see.
Oh, they had the power. I took it. Well, myself and Sebu, we both fought very hard to get the Muse where he's at now.
So it was a joint effort.
Very much so. The three of us are siblings, in a sense. Existed for pretty much, well, since the beginning. But the Muse got greedy after creating the mortals. He saw you all as nothing more than toys, in a sense. He found your freedom of knowledge and things like that fascinating. And then he got bored. Started to change things.
And it went to their head.
Absolutely, which is why it is so important to pick if another person is to fill in as a god. It is so important to have the right fit. And I would argue that is why it's so important for vessels to be in the right mind as well.
Honestly, I forgot that someone would have to fill his shoes.
That is something for another time. For now, we want to imprison him, at the very least, until we find a solution.
I think
Myself
that's
and Seb are both on the same page with that.
you and Cebu.
Yes, we're both on the same page as far as capturing the muse.
And honestly, if I can figure out a way to imprison him somehow, honestly, do anything to help with that.
I don't think there is much you can do on that, but who knows? You might be able to open up some insight. It's simply, we'll just have to see what happens, because I don't see the end of this timeline.
But on the bright side, that means it's still continuing.
Hmm.
Well, hope.
Or it means the last thing I see, and that is the last thing I see in general. I can't exactly see past anything if I die.
Mhm.
Both are very real possibilities. It's not the first time.
Well, I would like for you not to die if possible due to the importance of your power.
Hmm.
And it not ending in the hands of someone who isn't deserving or someone like the Muse who would abuse it.
This is true. Well, I don't intend on dying, so as tempting as it gets sometimes. Alright, well, I will let you go decompress. As I said, I will drop you where you were tomorrow.
I understand.
Or rather, it'll be more like, drop you tomorrow? I don't know. It'll be around the time in the
Whenever
morning.
it's tomorrow for them.
Yes, that. So. I hope this provided at least some clarity.
It did, and I am thankful for that.
Alright. He's gonna stand up and head off somewhere else.
And Oswald's, of course, going to watch.
He leaves.
He leaves. And then Oswald is going to, he's going to meditate for a little bit.
Okay.
He's going to do a bit of meditation to try and clear his head. Do that for a while.
Gotcha. Is there anything else that you're gonna want to have him do?
We could have, yeah, we can add a little bit of sappiness to this.
Oh.
Oswald, of course, after meditating, so he's gonna turn to his bag. He's gonna pull out the little mask.
The little mask.
He's just gonna massage it. Like, he's gonna hold it in, like, his hand, and he, with, like, his thumb on the side of the mask, he's gonna massage it slowly as he just stares at it.
Gotcha. Little gay moment.
Okay.
Gay.
Hermes. Why do I have a feeling that I'm gonna see you sooner than expected, but not in a good way?
Do me a favor. Roll me a sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand. Interesting.
Yes.
That is that is an 11.
Oof. Okay.
Huh.
So yeah, you're doing your little gay thing with the mask. You press a little too hard on it, and it does break.
Shit.
For a minute, nothing happens, and then you just hear from like behind you, just yeah, Oz.
I
You were
didn't.
gone without me for one day.
I didn't mean to break the mat. How are you? I didn't think you could even get here.
Oh please. It's like
Oh God.
it's like oh, okay, so it was an accident. I can go.
I. I mean,
Hmm.
how are you gonna get back? I mean, can you just? I assume you would just. Do they
I mean, I
really
could.
not have like any way to like know to like keep you there, like any magical like charm or something?
No. Sabu does have one, but he's gonna hold up what looks to be almost like a bracelet of sorts, and it has a little purple gemstone, and he's holding it up, just like. But I'm a little slippery bitch, so.
Wait. I have a question.
Hmm.
That that amulet,
Mm-hmm.
does it only keep you in, or could it lead you to the grove?
To the grove.
Sorry, where Sabu's located.
Oh, I'm not answering that. It's like, Ati, I'm in jail now, which means I can't interfere.
That didn't stop you before.
Yeah, well, I did kind of do it for a very good reason, and listen, I'm guilty of all the things I did. I know what I was doing. Besides, it's kind of like a vacation.
I Sure.
Besides, you could do with a better influence than me. Come on.
Yes, I know, but it's going to be very dull without you around.
Aww.
Honestly, I probably would be more emotional if I wasn't so drained from last night.
That's fair, and I'm sorry.
You had to do what had to be done.
Yeah, well, given you're here, I don't think it entirely had the intended effect, but you win some, you lose some when it comes to gambling.
God, okay.
Hmm.
I Let's go to my room so we don't have prying eyes.
You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm wiggling my eyebrows at you.
Hermes, it's not. Come on. And he's gonna lead him into his chamber.
Okay. It's like, okay. And also, you do realize Aroa probably can see and hear all of this, which is surprising. He's not yoinking me right back at me. Well, yeah, he's already probably been made aware of my shenanigans.
I'm sure he was aware of you as soon as the mask was broken,
Probably.
considering this is his private
Yeah.
domain.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he thinks it'll be good for you or something. Make you less depressed. It's like enrichment.
That's one way to think about talking to you. I I wish I had more to say.
Hmm.
I know I've made my choices and I've chosen my path. Again, it just makes me wonder if was this the right path to pick.
Oswald, you can always change paths. You know that,
I
right?
know I can change
Mm-hmm.
paths, Hermes.
Then why aren't you getting it through your thick birdie skull?
Because my brain is likes to calculate every outcome.
Well, stop it.
Right? If only it was that easy. You know me, Hermes. Not that easy. I guess one thing's always going to be set in stone of what I want to do, as stupid as it is.
Hmm?
It's to stop the muse.
Yeah, fuck that guy. I mean, he tried to kill me, so like,
Of course, I'm aware. I'm just worried for what they have planned.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I was gonna start gunning for him next, but like if the fucking masquerade ball thing I did didn't catch their attention, I was gonna start gunning for the muse at that point.
Honestly, I wish you gunned for the moves before you got arrested, but
I kind of don't want to put that on myself, though.
I know, and I don't want to put that on you either. It's, guess, just a vendetta I have against them, which is shocking, considering I don't want people to die, but now I have a death wish against a god.
Yeah, I feel like everyone who worships a god in some way ends up down that path at some point. So I mean, welcome.
This one's justified, I would like to think.
What my death? What me going on a death path against gods isn't warranted? Like, isn't valid?
Well,
Boo.
It, like, yours, I mean, yes, it's validated, but at the same time, I guess
Hmm.
what they said does make a little sense, as much as I might hate it, but
You don't have to tiptoe around it. I know what I did.
yes, I know.
Hey, listen. Thresha fucked up my life since birth. She had it coming.
She fucked up a lot of people's lives.
Mm-hmm. So I think I did a rather just and warranted thing as far as a moral standpoint goes. God rules, yeah, I threw that shit to the wind.
Yes. I still wish we could have gotten that dance.
Why can't we get it right now?
I mean, we could, but I think it'd be awkward to just dance with no music.
I can do a thing. He's gonna. He's like, wait, I only have a kazoo actually. Fuck. Never mind. Damn it, where's like a bunch of randomly placed instruments when you need it? I did that thing in the fucking masquerade ball to make music. I
I
don't have
mean,
instruments around me, so I can't make it
I would
do.
say you could use your powers, but I don't think that would work in Aroa's domain.
Yeah, and my powers are kind of limited. It's limited on what I have around me, like
Well,
distort stuff.
I guess instead, we just have 5 minutes of peace together, and then I will let you go.
All right, sounds good to me.
And Oswald will sit down on the bed.
All right. Yeah, Hermes is just gonna chill next to him. Probably relatively silent.
Enjoying each other's company.
Yeah.
Oswald will probably rest his head on Hermimi's shoulder.
Word. Yeah, yeah. You guys are chilling. And at some point, Hermes is actually gonna be like, hey,
Yeah?
because we got approximately 30 seconds left. Can I do something funny?
Sure?
Well, I don't know if you'd think it's funny. Actually, you might. Wait, if I have 30 seconds, I could disappear before you slap me.
Hermes, just do it.
Well, since you said so. And he's actually gonna lift his mask and pull Oswald into a kiss. And then, after a few seconds, he disappears into some shadows.
And Oswald, he doesn't know how to respond. His cheeks red, emotions flustered, body frozen. Hotel Trivago.
All the above.
Hermes. Thank you, bastard.
All right. After that gayness, is there anything else Oswald wants to do?
No, I think he's gonna get some rest.
All right, and that is where we will end the mini session. Woo! Yippee! Answers were had. Gay things happened.
More mysteries.
More mysteries.
Plans plotted.
Yes. All the things. I just cracked my leg. Ow. But yippee! Oh, he's unmuted. He has words. Do you have words?
Y'all ready to be in screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Make me disappear!
Boop.